Hello, welcome to my first race video. This is the fourth cat-only race at Milton Keynes Bowl, and I start off on the front, and everyone's quite content for me to stay on the front for the majority of the first lap. Everyone's going really hard trying to break away from the group. There's a guy called Toby, I think, who is often kind of trying to get off the front in this race. But yeah, most of the group just sitting behind me here. I'm trying not to be on the front, trying to be on someone's wheel and just survive the first hill, really. Another hard effort up here. I'm sure it'll get easier later on. My kind of strategy for these races is to not to try and do too much on the front, not to attack too much, although I seem to be deciding to do that here, but more that I think that people will get tired towards the end and people will drop off the group, and hopefully I'll get a good placing just by sticking with the group for the longest and other people falling away. This rider, I think called James, maybe, he's on the front. He does a lot early on in the race, and I think it comes back to kind of cost him later. So that's what I'm trying to avoid, really, because I know the same thing would happen to me. So yeah, still on his wheel. Notice gradually less impressive power numbers up this hill as we go through the race. There we go, someone on the front there that we've not seen before, so he's just been chilling in the back and he's gone for an attack. And immediately separation, we're all chasing on here. I'm trying not to be the lead chaser, I'm trying to stick on someone's wheel to get across. But what actually happens here is he gets away and we don't see him again. That's the first person up the road. I think there's another attack happening here, someone else trying to join up with that guy up the front. This time I try and follow the move myself. Luckily someone else comes through here, Toby I think, to try and catch up with this guy, but he's got too much for us. He's sprinted basically at the bottom of the hill and he's got the gap straight away and he's got the power to keep up this hill and we're not going to catch him. So I think he joins the rider who went off the front earlier. It's really quite hard for me to just stay on this guy's wheel. Always when I get to the top I'm like, right, that's me done. 0 watts, roll over the line, and roll back down the hill, doing as little as possible. Looks like Ian there in the sprint jersey, he's fed up with us not doing any work to close this gap, so he's going to do it himself. And then this guy here in the Lacole jersey, he goes up the road as well to join the front group. And that trio of riders, they basically get away from us, and that's the breakaway group gone. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough in the tank to make it across myself. Although I did try to stick on the wheels, but it wasn't to be. At this stage in the race I always feel a bit tired, I feel like I've done too much, I feel like basically I'm going to drop away from the group and I just want it to end, and it always kind of haunts me at this sort of stage, about 10 minutes in. And I just want to give up basically, but if you stick in there in the group trying to do here, try and chill out and get my heart rate down, then often things will slow down and you'll be able to do a bit more later on. So that's the strategy here, just sort of sit in. But then Toby goes as well. He's trying to chase onto those front three. It looks like he's got away here, but I think we managed to kind of bring him back. So it just seems like he doesn't have quite the ability to sort of get across, and he makes the original jump ahead of us, but he's not able to kind of keep it going and catch up with the breakaway group. I think they're quite far ahead now. They're like at least 20 seconds up the road, so it's a hard job really. So as you can see, most of the time I'm just trying to sort of sit in second or third wheel. And I think people think I'm stronger than I am really, because I'm sort of sitting there towards the front at all times, but I'm never really doing very much when it comes down to it being my turn. Because actually I'm really struggling a bit, so here's my turn to try and do something, and no, Ian's fed up with my pansy little effort there, and he's pushing on, trying to catch up with the breakaway group. But I think that, this sort of chase efforts of us fourth cats, we never really work together. It's always someone has a go, tries to get away. The group doesn't really work together, so that's how the breakaway can kind of stay away. Almost dropped the wheel here, so it looks like I'm going to get dropped. And actually, I actually felt like I was going to get dropped there. This was me right on the limit, believe it or not. But then somebody else comes through, and I just sort of think, if I could just stay on his wheel, maybe I can survive for another few laps. And actually, after that, it starts to get a bit easier. So it's a good job I did, really. I think everyone's kind of on the limit. And here, look, we've brought back Toby, who came up, who was off the front just now. He's been brought back by that effort from the guys on the front there. Then, after feeling awful on the last lap, I managed to recover in the wheels, and I'm good to go again up the hill. I see that gap there in the middle, and Toby attacks again, and I just sort of think, maybe I'll give it the beans here, and a little burst of power, and I'm on his wheel. And I think Ian comes across as well, so the three of us kind of get away from the group here, and it's looking pretty good for sort of second group. We get separation from the rest of the pack. It's my turn to have a go on the front here, and I've just worked really hard to kind of chase onto Toby's wheel, but and you can hear there in the background Ian sort of shouting at me, "Come on, work hard, work on the front," because he's really motivated to get away, but I'm sort of on the limit, so wasn't able to do anything. So they get a bit grumpy with me actually, because I just sit on now. I don't really do anything in this group to help it stay away. I think it's just because, that they're obviously stronger than I am in this race, and he's looking back there going, "Come on, are you going to do something?" And the answer is no, I'm not. It's not like I'm not trying. I want to work with this group, but I'm sort of struggling just to stay in the wheels. So in here up the hill, feeling alright. Everyone looking back at me going, "Can you do a turn, please?" Like, okay, fine, I am trying, but here goes. Yep, there's another look back. I try and ride through, do a turn, at least on the downhill where it's easy, so I'm not really doing anything here. But at the bottom, I do kind of push on a bit. I mean, the speed's high enough, like we're doing alright here. Push a bit harder at the bottom of the hill. but I kind of need something in the tank to get up the hill, and by being on the front, I don't have anything, and I kind of give up a bit and get dropped. Here they come. He's like, you're not doing enough, I'm going to go back on the front. I know you're going to get dropped. And he pushes on. I think he's trying to sort of get away by himself here. I let the wheel go. And I think the other guy in the group, Toby, he notices that I've let the wheel go here and comes round. And they both ride up the road. And I'm left all by myself. There's 2 or 3 laps when I'm riding around by myself now, until I catch up with another guy called Ian, who I know. He's sort of off the back here, coming around to lap him, and he sort of says, "Give us a turn, Rich." And I think, okay, yep, that's a bit of impetus to keep going. And I think I've just got Ian on my wheel here, riding around. And I'm hoping I've got enough of a gap on the rest of the group from being in that little breakaway that I can just ride to the finish by myself. But it turns out, no, everyone else is... I didn't check behind me, but everyone else has just come back across the gap, and I'm basically back into the main peloton. Which at least means I can sit in the wheels for a bit longer and recover. Now this guy here, 318, I think is a guy called Alan. He spoke to me afterwards and said he just really wasn't feeling it this week. He seems to be doing okay here. And I think he does quite a lot of work in the group towards the finish here. And I sort of stick with him. My turn to do a turn. I mean, there's no chance we're going to catch up with group 1 or 2. So we're just kind of trying to get to the finish. Maybe trying to drop a few more weaker riders from the group. I'm just counting down the laps really. I want it to be over. The call on the right there was from the front trio that got away early on. And they're coming round to lappers. That's 1, that's 2. And there's the other guy. You see they're going a bit quicker than us. But once they've lapped us, they sit up and it becomes much easier for them. I don't think they sort of conserving their energy for the sprint finish. They know the kind of race is won by this point, and here Alan spots an opportunity to sort of sit on that front group and make it harder for the other folks in our group. And I'm thinking, okay, I can go along with this as well. The speed isn't that high, and we can just sort of sit in here and get a free ride to the finish. I think the rest of the group are feeling a bit more tired, and they're sort of struggling to hold on here. This is kind of how it goes to the finish. So I think we've got 2 more laps from here. I think we've pretty much dropped everyone else from the group here. It's just me and Alan who are able to stick with the front group. He sort of edges me through, elbows me through there, and I think, okay, I'll try and chase back on. I didn't really look behind me to see who else was there, but I figured, you know, I can manage to stick with this group. We go past the women's 2-3-4 race on our right here again. And I'm thinking just 2 more times up the hill, just stick in here, and I should be able to get 6th or 7th or 8th place, I think. Which is not too bad for my first race of the season here at Milton Keynes. My sort of aim for the season is to get my 3rd cat licence, and these races are a pretty good way to get points. So I'm hoping for some points this time round. I let this guy come in here because he's in the race, I'm not, I'm just sort of sitting in. And we make it up the hill. I know that these guys are going to be stronger than me. They're going to move off the front. They're going to kind of attack each other all the way up the hill. I'm just sort of trying to hang on for as long as possible, really, see if I can drop anyone off my wheel. I think it's just me and Alan left from the main group. Again, see here they go, they're all sprinting now. Really long sprint up here. I'm doing my best to stay with them. 600 watts doesn't seem to be enough, so I sort of give up a little bit and then try and go again in a minute or so. There you go, see, there's me pushing on again. You can see the line there. And I think I sort of look back and I realise I haven't dropped anyone. I sort of roll over, I give up, and Alan comes past and takes the, I think he takes 6th place, and I roll across in 7th. And that's the end. Thanks for watching.